Genesis 5:3, continuing with the genealogy in this chapter. Let's read. Ezesin de Adam, diakosia, kai triakonta ete, ke egenesin, kata tain idean autu, ke kata tain ekona autu, kai ep anomasin ta anima autu Seth, or Seth. Let's begin with this first verb. You may recognize this. This is from zao. It's going to be with the E and the S-E-N. That's a third singular aorist active indicative with a de here. And so this is kind of marking a little bit of an advancement of the narrative. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is but. It is an and, but it's marking a step forward. We're actually getting into the specific genealogy. Of course, here is Adam, which if you recall from 5:2, that was the name given to them, and it's a bit of an interesting way in which they captured the underlying Hebrew Adam, where I was arguing, well, maybe they should have, the translator should have picked mankind or something like that, but here it clearly is referring to the person. So Adam lived, and then we have some numbers, and these are not going to be numbers that you would have learned like in Greek 1. So diakosia, that is 200. And then triakonta, you can see the 3 on the front end. This is going to be 30. So he lived 230 ete, and this is going to be years. We'll see that a lot as the genealogy unfolds. Kai egenesin, so he beget or begat. This is going to be a third singular aorist active indicative from the double N genao there. So he begat or gave origin to. It's not necessarily giving birth to in this case, showing his direct descendants and how he gave rise to them. Kata tain idean autu. So idea here, of course, that looks like idea, but this is going to be something like form or even maybe appearance, the outward appearance, something like that if you look it up in the lexicon. So he begot according to his own form. And then kata, again, according to the ekona. And you may remember ekon is image. So hold that thought, we'll come back to it. So he produced offspring, if you will, according to his own form, according to his own image. And then epanomasin, we saw this previously. This is another third singular aorist active indicative. So he named, notice the anima there, he named the name of him. So again, we've seen that redundance before. Seth, reminding us that he is now the promised offspring through whom the blessing will flow, given that Abel is dead and Cain has been sent out. Let's take a minute to make a few comments here. First off, this giving birth and naming Seth, this is a direct recap of Genesis 4:25. So part of Genesis 5 is rehashing some things that we've looked at previously. We saw Genesis 1 in the prior verse and so forth. And then just a reminder, Luke has the genealogy that goes all the way back to the very beginning, whereas Matthew's genealogy starts with Abraham. We haven't gotten to him yet. And so the Lucan genealogy starts at the bottom with Jesus, works its way up to the top. So Jesus was the son, as it was supposed, because, of course, Joseph wasn't his biological father, of Joseph, son of Haley, and then you have a whole bunch of other generations. You finally get to Enosh. We'll come back to him in the next video. But here we go, son of Seth, son of Adam, son of God. And that reminds us, of course, of Genesis 1. Now we have Adam passing on his lineage to Seth. And so it's a good reminder, especially with this acon here, that Adam was made in the image of God. Now we see Seth as being born in the image of Adam. And so this imaging of God is now passing down ultimately to Jesus, who is the true, the final, the consummate image bearer of God, as we see elsewhere in the New Testament. So pretty interesting how Seth becomes this critical link in the chain by which the acon, the imageness of God, if you will, gets passed on, not in a certain sense Cain, who's been sent out and is not part of this blessed line. So interesting stuff here as we dig into the genealogy.